the chain brake, let's talk about that a little bit. It's actually an anti-kickback device, and what it's designed to do, you know, when this saw is used for tree work, it's very easy to pinch a saw and have it kick. So basically what the design of that was for was if you were cutting with it and it kicked, it would throw it back and stop the chain. So there's a lot of misconceptions out there about checking a chain brake that have come out in the last few years. So basically, whenever that is released back in that position, it goes to a neutral position. So we basically know the mechanism is working correctly. It's in a neutral position, it goes back and springs forward again. That would be the locked position if the saw would kick while cutting. When the chain brake's not engaged, you know, I can pull that bar and chain, or that chain around that bar with not a whole lot of effort. There are several people out there that have taught that throttle the saw up to full throttle and throw the chain brake. Unfortunately, what that does, that small brake band that's in there grabs the PTO side of the clutch is still engaged, and what gives is on the other side the flywheel is weighted. I've seen a few saws that did not run correctly, would not start, or when they did start they would backfire. What happened was, by operating that chain brake in that fashion, it actually spun the flywheel on the flywheel key on the crankshaft, and now the saw is out of time. So it's either not going to start, or we've actually had saws come in our shop that actually backfired. And up until that point, I had never heard a 2-cycle saw backfire. So there's always the question of how do I actually check the chain brake. This is a method that I used for years. I found it in an old chainsaw manual. Basically is to throw that with a gloved hand, and if I can't pull that chain around there, then that chain brake is functioning. There are people out there that will just bump the throttle just a little bit just to get the chain moving, but with not a lot of load on it, and then they will trip it. It's also become the trend now on a roof to actually throttle up full all the way through the cut. As soon as they come out of the cut, they're throwing that chain brake. Again, if the flywheel is spinning, you risk knocking that flywheel key, the little nub that's in there on the flywheel, you risk spinning that off of the groove, and basically what you're doing there is affecting the timing of the spark in the saw. So it is going to misfire at the wrong time, or again, the saw will not start at all. So there again, that is not I do not recommend throttling that saw up full and then just tripping that chain brake. You're actually going to cause some damage to your saw, and will have to be sent in for repair. Either replacement of the flywheel, basically either way you're going to replace that flywheel. So don't recommend checking your chain brake in that manner again. Trip it and give it a good hard tug. If you can't move that, then that is going to grab the saw. If that kicks, you're going to automatically let off that throttle, and that will stop that.